Antonio Brown has acted like a disgrace. He's been very childish, very belligerent, unnecessarily so.
Antonio Brown's antics have escalated from reckless to outright dangerous. From pulling a gun and firing shots that could have ended a life, to hurling furniture off a skyscraper balcony with a baby directly in the line of fire, to stripping naked on live television while abandoning his team mid-battle. These are the moments Antonio Brown went too far, starting with the Facebook Live incident. Following the Pittsburgh Steelers' playoff victory over the Kansas City Chiefs on January 15, 2017, Antonio Brown decided to give his Facebook followers an all-access pass to one of the most sacred spaces in professional sports, the team locker room, during what should have been a private celebration. Armed with his smartphone and emboldened by a lucrative six-figure marketing deal with Facebook, Brown began live streaming what every NFL team considers sacred territory. The broadcast violated both team and NFL policies on locker room privacy and media access, as players are forbidden from posting online until after addressing the media. What Brown captured wasn't just celebration. It was head coach Mike Tomlin delivering a raw, unfiltered message about their upcoming opponents that was never meant for public ears.
Let's say very little moving forward. Let's start our preparation week. A day and a half.
The live stream exposed Tomlin referring to the New England Patriots using profanity in what was supposed to be a private team moment. The video also captured a teammate in a compromising position, further emphasizing the violation of privacy. The immediate aftermath was swift and severe, with the Steelers organization forced to address what they viewed as an unforgivable breach of trust and team unity.
Be bluntly honest here. It was foolish of him to do that. It was selfish for him to do that.
The Steelers fined Brown $10,000, as reported by Fox Sports' Jay Glazer on January 22, 2017. Brown's initial response seemed contrite, issuing an apology on Twitter stating, "I let my emotions and genuine excitement get the best of me, and I wanted to share that moment with our fans. It was wrong of me to do, against team and NFL policy." However, the revelation that Brown had a marketing deal with Facebook worth high six figures, which included payments for such live streams, transformed what initially appeared to be innocent excitement into calculated self-promotion at his team's expense. The fine was paid, the apologies were issued, but the damage to team chemistry and trust had been permanently inflicted. Now, if you thought Brown's Facebook Live incident was reckless, well, you'll soon discover that social media violations were just the beginning compared to this next moment we're about to discuss. Tossing furniture from apartment. Antonio Brown's day at the mansions at Aquilina on April 24, 2018, began with what he believed was theft from his apartment. Police reports indicated Brown was extremely agitated over $80,000 and a handgun that had gone missing, setting the stage for what would become a potentially deadly display of unchecked fury. When security couldn't provide the assistance Brown demanded regarding his missing items, his response shocked even seasoned law enforcement officials. Brown allegedly threw furniture, including two vases, an ottoman, and other items from his 14th floor balcony. Surveillance footage showed residents fleeing the pool area as items rained down, nearly striking a 22-month-old toddler and his grandfather. The objects plummeted toward innocent families enjoying what should have been a safe recreational space. When confronted about this incident during a later interview, Brown offered an explanation that seemed carefully crafted to deflect responsibility while acknowledging something serious had indeed occurred.
They kind of broke into my room and took some cash out my room. And it's like we was calling security, they know I stayed there. They wasn't giving us no remorse.
His attempt to shift blame became even more apparent as he continued his explanation, claiming he wasn't even the person who committed this dangerous act.
So it wasn't even you?
Yeah, it wasn't even me.
But you got blamed for it?
Of course. They said, oh yeah, we saw AB doing this.
The legal consequences were immediate and substantial. The incident led to dual lawsuits, one from the child's guardian, Ophir Sternberg, for intentional infliction of emotional distress and assault, and another from the apartment complex for property damages. The toddler's family claimed the child experienced anxiety and trouble sleeping post-incident, seeking damages exceeding $15,000. The family lawsuit was settled in April 2019, with Brown paying an undisclosed amount to the child's college fund and making a donation to an unnamed charity. The apartment complex's lawsuit for nearly $80,000 in property damage and lost rental income was also resolved, ending a legal nightmare that began with flying furniture and a terrified toddler. But wait, throwing furniture from apartment balconies might seem like rock-bottom behavior, yet somehow Brown managed to dig even deeper with this next incident that would shock the entire sports world. Sexual misconduct allegations. Trust between a professional trainer and athlete represents one of the most fundamental relationships in sports, built on mutual respect, clear boundaries, and unwavering professionalism. When Brittany Taylor, a gymnast and Antonio Brown's college classmate from Central Michigan University, accepted a position as his personal trainer. She entered what should have been a straightforward professional arrangement focused on athletic performance and physical conditioning. In September 2019, Taylor filed a civil lawsuit in the Southern District of Florida, shattering any pretense that their relationship had remained within professional boundaries. The allegations detailed in the New York Times included Brown exposing himself and kissing Taylor without consent, masturbating behind her and ejaculating on her back during a training session, and raping her in his Miami home. These weren't allegations of inappropriate comments or unprofessional behavior. They described a systematic pattern of sexual violence spanning multiple incidents between 2017 and 2018. Brown's legal team immediately launched into damage control mode, with his attorney issuing a statement that acknowledged certain aspects of the relationship while vehemently denying the criminal allegations that had been made public.
Brown's lawyer, Darren Heitner, issued a statement not long after the story landed on the New York Times website, denying everything, admitting, however, the existence of a personal, intimate sexual relationship between Antonio Brown and Brittany Taylor, but calling the entire thing a money grab.
The situation deteriorated further when additional allegations emerged from a completely different source. Sports Illustrated published a report detailing allegations from an anonymous female artist who claimed Brown sexually harassed her while she painted a mural in his home in 2017. The artist alleged Brown approached her naked, covered only by a small towel, and when she ignored his advances, he ceased all communication. More disturbing, following the article's publication, she reported receiving intimidating texts from Brown, suggesting an attempt to silence her through fear and intimidation. The NFL's response was immediate and decisive. The New England Patriots, who had signed Brown just days before the allegations became public, released him on September 20th, 2019. The league conducted a thorough investigation and subsequently suspended Brown for 8 games in July 2020 for multiple violations of the personal conduct policy. The case with Taylor was eventually settled in April 2021, with both parties agreeing to move forward, though the settlement terms were kept confidential. You'd think facing serious sexual misconduct allegations would be enough controversy for any athlete, but Brown apparently had other plans for making headlines in this next moment of madness. The speeding incident, hours before the Pittsburgh Steelers were set to face the Carolina Panthers in a crucial interconference matchup. Antonio Brown demonstrated a complete disregard for public safety and team protocol that would add another troubling chapter to his growing list of off-field controversies. Brown was cited for driving over 100 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone on McKnight Road in Ross Township, Pittsburgh, while operating a black Porsche with apparent indifference to the danger he posed to other drivers, pedestrians, and anyone else unfortunate enough to be sharing the road with him that day. The circumstances of his arrest revealed both the reckless nature of his driving and an element of pure coincidence that likely prevented even more serious consequences. Police were in the area searching for suspects in a bank robbery at McCandless Crossing when they noticed Brown's excessive speed. During the traffic stop, Brown explained to officers that he was rushing to a team meeting, as if endangering public safety was an acceptable method for fulfilling professional obligations to his teammates and coaching staff. The Steelers issued a measured statement acknowledging the incident, but declined further comment, stating they were still gathering information. This restrained response reflected an organization that was becoming increasingly frustrated with their star player's off-field conduct and the constant need to address his behavior rather than focus on football. The incident occurred during a period when Brown's relationship with the Steelers was already showing significant strain, adding another layer of tension to an already volatile situation. The legal proceedings moved through the courts with typical efficiency for traffic violations. Brown was charged with reckless driving, a summary offense. On February 12, 2019, a judge in Allegheny County Magisterial District Court found him guilty, ordering a fine of $426.77. Brown did not attend the court hearing and was represented by his attorney, James Hankel, who declined to comment on Brown's whereabouts or the case. The fine was promptly paid, legally resolving the matter and allowing Brown to avoid any more serious consequences for his dangerous driving. So driving over 100 miles per hour seemed pretty dangerous at the time, right? Well, hold on to your seats because this next incident makes reckless driving look like a minor traffic violation. Attempted murder charge. Celebrity boxing events are typically controlled entertainment, environments designed for spectacle rather than genuine violence, where social media influencers and retired athletes engage in carefully choreographed combat for online content and fan engagement. On May 16, 2025, Antonio Brown attended such an event hosted by social media influencer Aiden Ross in Miami's Little Haiti neighborhood, expecting what should have been a typical night of networking, entertainment, and social media content creation. What began as a routine social gathering gathering quickly devolved into a life-threatening situation that would result in the most serious criminal charges of Brown's already controversial career. Video footage captured Brown punching a man, seizing a handgun from a security officer, and firing 2 shots at another individual identified as Zulkarnain Kwame Nantambu, who had known Brown since 2022. One bullet reportedly grazed Nantambu's neck, and he required immediate medical treatment at a Ventura hospital.
Let's talk about what y'all are talking about, which is Antonio Brown facing attempted murder charges. Yeah, that Antonio Brown, who had one of the most prolific runs at the wide receiver position we've ever seen in the NFL, to right now facing attempted murder charges.
Additional evidence included 2 spent shell casings and an empty gun holster found at the scene, providing clear physical proof of the shooting that had occurred. Despite the overwhelming evidence and multiple witnesses, Brown was detained by off-duty Florida Highway Patrol officers working security, but was released hours later after no weapon was found during a pat-down. On June 12, 2025, a judge from the 11th Judicial Circuit in Miami-Dade County issued an arrest warrant for Brown, charging him with second-degree attempted murder with a firearm, a first-degree felony carrying a potential 15-year prison sentence and a $10,000 fine. The warrant requires Brown to post a $10,000 bond and remain under house arrest pending trial. Brown's response to the charges has been both defiant and concerning. He claimed on social media that he was jumped by multiple individuals who tried to steal my jewelry and cause physical harm to me, and during a live stream with Aiden Ross, he attributed his actions to blacking out due to chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. As of July 2025, Brown has not surrendered to authorities and is believed to have left the United States, possibly for the Middle East or Asia, effectively making him a fugitive from American justice. Can you believe we just talked about attempted murder charges? Unfortunately, Brown's timeline of chaos doesn't end there. This next moment shows his ability to turn even safety equipment into controversy. Helmet dispute with Oakland Raiders. In August 2019, Antonio Brown engaged in a highly publicized dispute with the NFL over its updated helmet safety standards, refusing to accept new equipment regulations that were designed to protect him and every other player in the league from serious head trauma. Brown insisted on continuing to use his preferred Shut Air Advantage helmet, which he had worn since his rookie season in 2009, but was discontinued in 2011 and no longer certified due to its age and failure to meet current safety standards. The NFL required players to switch to helmets meeting new safety standards, prompting Brown to file grievances and threaten retirement rather than comply with rules designed to protect his own brain.
Well, I think it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal because, first of all, Antonio Brown has acted like a disgrace. He's been very childish, very belligerent, unnecessarily so. The rules that are being implemented apply to every single player in the league.
Brown's approach to resolving this dispute demonstrated both his determination to get his way and his willingness to go to extraordinary lengths to avoid compliance. Brown used social media to locate newer versions of the Shut Air Advantage, finding a 2010 model that failed safety testing and a 2014 model expected to fail. He also attempted to disguise his old helmet by painting it to resemble a new model, but this deception was discovered by team officials. Brown filed his first grievance on August 9, 2019, arguing his old helmet was safe and that new helmets impaired his vision and comfort, but the grievance was denied by an arbitrator. Undeterred by this setback, Brown filed a second grievance on August 19, 2019, requesting a 1-year grace period to phase out his helmet, arguing that other players had been granted such periods, but this was also denied. Brown threatened to retire if forced to change helmets and claimed he would hold the NFL liable for any head injuries. On September 4, 2019, Brown finally announced he would use the Zenith Shadow helmet, which met NFL safety standards, effectively ending the dispute. However, the helmet saga was part of broader conflicts with the Raiders, including missing training camp due to a frostbite injury and his confrontation with general manager Mike Mayock. These accumulated issues led to Brown being fined $215,000 and the voiding of over $29 million in contract guarantees, culminating in his release on September 7, 2019, before he ever played a single regular season game for Oakland. Fighting the NFL over helmet safety was stubborn enough, but what happens when Brown tries to handle medical recovery on his own? This next incident answers that question perfectly. Frostbite incident. In July 2019, while in France, Antonio Brown decided to use cryotherapy as part of his training regimen, a legitimate recovery method that involves exposing the body to sub-freezing temperatures to reduce inflammation and promote healing. However, Brown's approach to this medical treatment demonstrated the same disregard for safety protocols that characterized many of his off-field decisions. Brown entered the cryotherapy chamber without proper footwear, leading to severe frostbite on his feet. The injury was described as extreme frostbite by sources, with reports suggesting stage 2 frostbite with potential long-term vascular damage. Brown documented his injury by posting photos on Instagram stories showing blistering and peeling skin, images that first surfaced publicly and shocked fans who couldn't believe a professional athlete would sustain such an injury during the summer.
Yeah, my feet is pretty much getting circumcised, right? Right?
Yeah,
For real.
like circulation?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
With the new skin,
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fullback right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I circumcised on my feet, you know.
The impact on his new team was immediate and significant. Brown missed substantial portions of the Oakland Raiders training camp, participating in only one practice on July 30th, 2019, before leaving for treatment. He saw a foot specialist on August 3rd, 2019, and underwent laser treatment for frostbite and burns. The Raiders were aware of the injury weeks before camp, removing him from the non-football injury list on July 28th, 2019. Brown's own description of his recovery process revealed both the severity of the injury and his attempt to maintain his training despite the self-inflicted setback.
So the next like 24 hours, it swelled up, got really big. I couldn't really walk or put pressure. The doctor came over, drained a little out, scalpel the next day, freaking scissors the next day, and just kind of let it leak all out. So as everything leaked all out, I was able to put a lot of pressure.
There was mention of potential legal action against the cryotherapy company involved, with agent Drew Rosenhaus stating details were kept private due to possible litigation, given the incident occurred in France. However, no public updates on lawsuits or settlements emerged, suggesting any legal action was either resolved privately or never pursued to completion. Freezing your own feet during summer vacation sounds really weird, doesn't it? Well, apparently Brown wasn't done making poor decisions, as this next moment proves beyond any doubt. Truck driver attack. On January 21st, 2020, at his home in Hollywood, Florida, Antonio Brown hired moving truck driver Anton Tumanov to transport his belongings from California, expecting a routine business transaction that would conclude with payment for services rendered. Instead, what should have been a straightforward commercial arrangement devolved into violence over a relatively modest sum of money. Brown refused to pay the $4,000 fee for the moving services, leading to a confrontation that escalated far beyond any reasonable dispute resolution. According to police reports, Brown threw a rock at the truck, causing damage, and physically assaulted the driver. Dash cam footage from the truck showed Brown entering the cab and a tussle ensuing, providing clear video evidence of the assault. Brown's perspective on this incident, shared during a later interview, revealed his mental state at the time and his belief that he was being victimized by multiple people trying to exploit his circumstances.
Yeah, because at this time, it took me off my job at the Patriots, put all this adversity with a made-up story with the girl. So now I'm back in Miami like, damn, you get this great in your life, you work this hard in your life to, put yourself in this position. And it's like, yo, they could just take out your position. Ain't nobody even defending you.
His explanation continued, revealing a man who felt cornered and abandoned by the institutions and people he had once trusted to support him.
Moving truck guy stole everything.
Damn. Okay.
He done took so much stuff. So it's like, my people's outside, they like, yo, bro, where the stuff at? So at this point, you know what I'm saying? I'm like at a point where I'm so, I want to say mental health, I'm just pissed off.
Brown's trainer, Glenn Holt, was also involved in the incident, attempting to unload Brown's property and grabbing the driver's keys, leading to a scuffle and Holt's arrest on charges of burglary with battery. Brown faced charges of burglary with battery, burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, and criminal mischief. On June 4, 2020, he pleaded no contest, receiving 2 years of probation, 100 hours of community service, and a 13-week anger management course. The financial consequences proved far more severe than the criminal penalties. In May 2021, Tumanov sued Brown, and in October 2022, a Broward County court ordered Brown to pay $1.2 million, including $407,000 for medical expenses and $793,000 for pain and suffering, with Brown failing to appear in court to defend himself. Attacking a truck driver over $4,000 was bad enough, but during a global pandemic, Brown found an entirely new way to break rules in this next incident. fake vaccination card. Professional sports leagues implemented strict COVID-19 protocols during the pandemic to protect players, staff, and the broader community from virus transmission, requiring detailed documentation of vaccination status to ensure compliance with health and safety guidelines. In November 2021, during Antonio Brown's tenure with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, these protocols became the center of a controversy that would result in federal investigation and league discipline. The allegations originated from an unexpected source within Brown's personal life. On November 18, 2021, Stephen Ruiz, Brown's former live-in chef, accused him in an interview with the Tampa Bay Times of using a fake COVID-19 vaccination card to bypass NFL protocols. Ruiz provided text messages showing that Brown's girlfriend, Sydney Moreau, asked him on July 2, 2021, to procure a fake Johnson & Johnson vaccination card for $500. The text messages included references to AB, clearly identifying Brown as the intended recipient of the fraudulent documentation.
Antonio Brown was busted allegedly for using a fake vaccination.
Tony!
So live-in chef, I assume that would have to be down in Tampa Bay where he is living, because this would involve the vaccination protocols. That would be the house that we lived in.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's in our house. There is actually a quarters for somebody to live on the property if they were to work at the house.
The NFL's investigation revealed a pattern that extended beyond Brown alone. On December 2nd, 2021, the NFL suspended Brown for 3 games without pay for misrepresenting his vaccination status, alongside teammates Mike Edwards and former player John Franklin III. The investigation revealed all 3 had vaccination cards from Citrus County, Florida, despite having no connection to the area, raising immediate suspicions about the authenticity of their documentation. Brown's legal team attempted to counter the allegations, but the evidence proved overwhelming. Brown's attorney, Sean Burston, claimed Brown was vaccinated and advocated for vaccine safety, but the NFL's investigation contradicted these claims with substantial evidence. The situation was further complicated by Ruiz claiming Brown owed him $10,000, adding a financial motivation to his willingness to expose Brown's alleged fraud.
Whenever we all saw the vaccination card or got vaccinated and received the card, it was hard not to just go immediately, as somebody that used the fake ID
Yes.
for 4 years, okay, immediately upon seeing that vaccination card, I was like, this is pretty duplicable.
The 3-game suspension took effect immediately for Brown and Edwards, disrupting their participation during a crucial part of the Buccaneers season. The league's investigation demonstrated their commitment to enforcing COVID-19 protocols regardless of player status or team success. Brown served his suspension without appeal, missing valuable playing time and further damaging his reputation for honesty and integrity within the league. Using fake vaccination cards definitely crossed legal boundaries. But have you ever wondered what happens when Brown decides he's done playing football mid-game? This next moment provides that answer. Jets game exit. During the third quarter of a game against the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium on January 2nd, 2022, Antonio Brown decided that none of the professional standards applied to him when he disagreed with his coaching staff's decisions. What happened next shocked everyone in the stadium and watching at home. Brown removed his jersey, shoulder pads, undershirt, glove, and other gear and left the field mid-game. He threw his shirt and gloves into the stands, gave a peace sign to the crowd, and jogged into the tunnel while his teammates continued playing what would become a 28-24 victory over the Jets. Head coach Bruce Arians, in a post-game press conference, delivered a definitive statement. He is no longer a Buck. That's the end of the story, confirming Brown's immediate release from the team. The context surrounding Brown's dramatic exit involved ongoing tension about his role in the offense. Brown was hobbled by an ankle injury and did not practice on Thursday or Friday before the game, but was cleared to play. During the game, Arians repeatedly ordered Brown into the game, but Brown refused, prompting Arians to send him to the locker room. Brown's teammate Mike Evans later provided insight into what happened from the player's perspective, revealing the efforts made to prevent Brown's self-destructive exit.
I mean, what I remember is we were trying to get him to come back in the game. He was saying he wanted to rock, and I mean, rightfully so. We should have gotten him to rock. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. Like, yo, come in the game, AB.
Evans continued describing his desperate attempts to prevent Brown from destroying his career in such a public and humiliating fashion.
And AB goes off, and he's about to take his pads off. And I'm trying to grab his pads and tell him, like, yo, big bro, because me and him have a relationship. And I don't want him to go out like this. Like, we need him. So I'm telling him, yo, big bro, we need you. The season's almost over. If you don't want to be here, the next year you can leave.
Brown's own explanation of the incident, provided in a 2023 interview, revealed his belief that he was being mistreated and that his dramatic exit was justified by the team's handling of his situation. He claimed he was promised targets, but didn't receive them, leading to his explosive departure with the words, "I'm crazy for all you motherfuckers, I'm out of here." The Buccaneers won the game, but Brown's career with the team was over, ending what had been a successful partnership that included a Super Bowl victory just 1 year earlier. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.